Welcome, everyone, to a special broadcast of the G.L. Henderson Show on the Artist First Radio Network. All past broadcasts are podcasts. Find them at artistfirst.com. And now sitting in for G.L. tonight is Judge and author, the Honorable Hubert L. Grimes.
Thank you, Z. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the work that you do to help make this opportunity to communicate with our listening audience possible. And we want to just welcome all of you out there tonight in Radio Land. We say a happy new year to each of you. Hope that this is going to be in 23 a much better year than 22. You know, all of us are coming out of that pandemic. Hopefully all of you are taking good care of yourselves out there during this winter season. And we're just going to have a great night here tonight with our guests. And in fact, our guest for tonight is none other than Dr. Donovan Wells. Dr. Wells is the par excellence director of bands for the Bethune-Cookman University marching band. And they've got a very unique name. They are often referred to as the Pride. And in fact, I'm going to have Dr. Wells give you the reason why they would change. The name has become the Pride, and people all throughout this country know about them. And once you've got a chance to experience the Pride, I can assure you it is unlike any other band that you have ever seen. So welcome, Dr. Wells. We're glad to have you tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. How you doing? How you doing, Judge Brown?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just getting ready to launch out into this new year. And like so many other people, you know, doing those kind of things that we sort of check our life out, you know,
Right.
Look back over the last year to see what's done good and what lessons we learned that we need to improve upon in the year ahead. So it's exciting time.
But that's what wise people do. That's what wise people do. They look over the previous year and then they look at the next year and see how I can improve as a person. So, and I'm trying to do the same thing.
But, you know, I always wonder, why do people call them New Year's resolutions? And they make these lofty goals that they set for themselves, and 30 days later they decided, nah, I can't do that.
Right,
and so
right.
rather than calling them resolutions, I said, look, I'm just going to look back over the past year, see what I did good, try to keep building on that. Stuff I didn't do as well, learn the lesson, and keep on plugging.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. You know, just self-evaluation. I'm not good at resolutions either. I break mines all the time, so I stopped that a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, you know, let's talk about you for a little bit, because obviously there's a lot of resolutions that you have kept over the years, as evident by the success that you have with the Pride. And
Thank you.
Let's talk about you. And I know you're a Virginia guy. You grew up in Virginia. And talk about your growing up.
Yeah, I'm from Smithfield, Virginia, man. And if you ever had a ham or go in the grocery store and you see Smithfield Baker, that's my little town that I'm from. It's in the Tidewater area. We're across the James River from Hampton and Newport News. And so I'm from there. I grew up there. And my father, he was a welder with the Department of Navy. And and he was a pastor, a minister.
Yeah.
And my mother was a school bus driver. And my father only had a 7th grade education, but he made sure that his kids had the opportunity to get a college education. So I'm always indebted to my parents. They were. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my parents. I was a trumpet player in high school, and pretty good trumpet player, and got a lot of recruitment in my senior year from different schools. And my band director called me in, Mr. James Carver, my high school band director, who's still living there. He called me in and he said, man, Bethune-Cookman out of Florida has offered you a scholarship. Never heard of the school. But he was a graduate of Norfolk State, and Bethune-Cookman played Norfolk State in New York, I think in 1976, in Shea Stadium for some kind of Black Bowl game. And he went up to the game, and he said, man, that band, and during that time, Bethune-Cookman had all men. He said, man, that band was tough. He said, they could play. Said, them all guys, man. He said, they something to reckon with. He said, man, I think you need to take a look at it. And Samuel C. Barry was the band director. I never forget, I came in his office, he called him on the phone, and I played, you didn't have Zoom and all of that. I played my solo that I played for a solo ensemble for Mr. Barry over the phone.
Wow.
And I got a scholarship. And my parents brought us to Florida in 1977 for a summer vacation. And, man, I just love Florida, man. Palm trees, beaches, Disney World, and all that. So now...
No snow. No snow.
Tell me about it, man. Let me tell you something. And I hate cold. I grew up in Virginia, but I hate cold weather. So, man, I could go to Florida. And so I decided, because I was Norfolk State bound, I was going to Norfolk State. So I decided to... my parents supported me, and I decided to come on to Bethune-Cookman. Came there in 1980 with Dr. Bronson. Graduated in 1984 with Dr. Bronson. And came back to Virginia. Taught public school for 12 years at 4 different high schools. I did a short stint at Hampton University, 2 years as a part-time assistant band director. And then I was offered the job to come back at Bethune-Cookman in 1996 as assistant band director. And in 1997, I took over as director of band.
Yeah, and we could say the rest is history, because you've definitely proven yourself throughout the course of the time. That's, what is that, around about 17 years ago?
Oh, no.
Something close to that?
No,
was it 20? Where we at?
I'm in my 26th year as director of band.
Well, you're right. You could tell I went to law school and did not major in math.
yeah, 26 years. And I've been at Bethune for 27 years. But this is my 26th year as director of band. And I'm going to say, Bethune-Cookman has been good to me and for me. I've experienced things in my lifetime by being affiliated with the band that I would have never experienced. So I'm just thankful and grateful that God sent me this way.
I've heard you talk about some of the experiences that you got as a result of being at Bethune. And, one of the ones that, and there's several, and we'll talk about those as the evening unfolds. And you talk about what Bethune did for you. But I want to flip the script for just a moment, talk about what you've done for Bethune-Cookman's reputation. I remember because I've been here in this area for quite a while myself, I've seen this band grow. And it seems like over about the last 10, 15 years that it just exploded. You made a reputation all throughout the country with the band. And you called it, in fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm assuming you called it the Pride. What's that? I mean, most people don't know that, what the background is for the word, the Pride. They might think you mean you're just proud and that you stick your chest out, but it means something much deeper than that. What's the significance of the name itself?
Well, to be honest with you, I did not give the band the name The Pride. When I left in 1984, we were the Marching Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman.
Mm-hmm.
When I returned, we were the Marching Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman, a.k.a. The Pride. And I think that between the time that I left and returned, I think Dr. Bronson had labeled the band as The Pride of Bethune-Cookman. And it was on the uniform sleeve when I returned. And now, since we have slightly changed the uniform, we have Pride on the chest, right above the heart.
Okay. All right.
And it's our pleasure to be considered the Pride of Bethune-Cookman. One of my goals or missions that I should say I have is that through the band is to go out and be a positive image of Bethune-Cookman and the legacy of our family I tell our kids all the time, you put that uniform on and go out and represent our university. It's so much bigger than you think it is. You know? And, you know, you're talking about a lady that found a school with 5 girls, a couple of dollars. And look at our university now, the band that we have. I said, we owe it to her legacy. Go out and give our best. Make sure that we represent Bethune-Cookman and her legacy with the very best that we have to offer.
All right. And believe me, I want to just tell our listeners out there, if you have not witnessed a performance of the Pride, you need to, because otherwise you're depriving yourself of something very special. Yes, I know you talk about it's a marching band, but you guys do some very special things along the way, and you've been recognized through a number of different venues. I mean, the Battle of the Bands is one, and what exactly is the Battle of the Bands?
Well, Battle of the Bands is the All-Star, HBCU All-Star Battle of the Bands that's coming up the first Saturday in February in Atlanta, Georgia. This is where top bands, HBCU world, come to Atlanta. And you're showcased, not a competition, because we want to save our art form. And we got State Farm as a sponsor this year. Honda has sponsored it for many years. Honda decided to move to Montgomery, Alabama. So they had another agency that wanted to continue it in Atlanta, and 6 Degrees Sports Entertainment, and out of Charlotte, North Carolina. They were able to find sponsorship, so they're going to continue it in Atlanta, and it has worked out real well, very well.
Well, I know I've had a chance to see the Battle of the Bands showcase there in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I tell you what, it's a phenomenal event. It gives young people from all across the HBCU spectrum an opportunity to showcase their talents, and of course, that means that it's encouraging those high schoolers who want to walk in the footsteps of their big brothers, their aunts, their uncles, and all the like, to be able to say, look, if I keep working on honing my talents and skills, there's an opportunity for me to be on that field too one day.
Oh yes, and I'm glad you mentioned the talents of our students and our young people, our young African American students, because a lot of people give me a lot of credit for the band. But when that band is on the field, I'm on the sideline. I turn into a fan just like you or anybody else. Those young people that we have in our band program and that we've had over the years, special young people, very intelligent, very creative, very talented. And they take all of those attributes that God has blessed them with, and then they don't mind working hard to put out the product. They have a lot of pride in what they do. And I don't care if I'm the band director. I mean, you can put Quincy Jones as band director. If you don't have good people in your band, you're not going to have a good band. So our students are the stars. They're the ones that make Marching Wildcats go.
Well, you not only did that, but I recall, of course, when I was serving in the role as general counsel there at the school,
right,
that you came to me with a proposed contract, and right, little did I know at the time that although it was really kind of cool. We agreed on it. We made a couple little minor changes, but right, got together, and you brought in something that's really unique. That's been very it caught my attention on the air, and that's the Netflix series that right, champions and shows what happens in the life of a student musician at Bethune-Cookman. In fact, talk a little bit about that whole Netflix piece that you guys did.
Yeah, back then it was Honda in Atlanta. There was a production team out of New York called Gigantic Production. And what they were doing, they were planning to do a series about HBCU bands. And they hadn't selected a band yet. They had done their homework, looking at different bands, looking at different bands. Some were out of the SWAC, some were out of the MEAC, some were out of the NCAA, and then SIA. So stumbled across the Honda Battle of the Bands. And what they decided was that they were going to come to Honda because about 4 or 5 of the bands that they were looking at were performing at Honda.
Okay.
So none of this I had any idea about. They came to Honda. And we were the last band to perform. They had kind of picked their band. They were, I think we're going to go with this band. And so then we came out and performed. And at the end of the performance, they said, we have to have a Bethune-Cookman. When I got back to the next week, I got a call and an email from them. And it started with Gigantic Productions. And Gigantic Productions,
It sounds like we're having a little bit of difficulty there. Okay.
And right after
there it is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. We were having a little bit of signal was weak, but that's okay. Go ahead and
we
pick up from there.
Warner Brothers was starting a streaming network called Stage 13. Stage 13 had 13 original shows that they wanted to start a network with. So out of those shows, Warner Brothers decided to purchase the show from Gigantic Productions for their network. Then AT&T bought Warner Brothers, and everything went on hold for a year. After that year, I thought that was just never going to happen. I got a call from Warner Brothers. They said that we want to see if you can get on a conference call. We're thinking about putting your show on Netflix. And had a conference call, sent the paperwork. And you remember when I brought the paperwork over to you all and everything. And, the rest is history, man. And it has been a great opportunity for us because Netflix is worldwide. It's not just in the United States. It's shown in all but 3 countries around the world. So I knew it was big when I started to get emails from France, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, London, Africa, from different countries, continents, about our band. So, that's how that all came about.
Wow. Well, and for any of our listeners that have not had an opportunity to see it, give us the title so they can look it up on Netflix.
The title of the show is called Marching Orders. Marching Orders. And it's on Netflix. I don't know if Netflix still carries it now, but I know they carried it for at least 3 years. And I don't know if it's still on there now or not. But Marching Orders, but you can find it on YouTube or, in today's time, these kids can find it. I can't find it, but find a young person, they'll find it for you.
No question. If you check with your 16-year-old son or grandson or granddaughter, they'll find it. They'll find it.
Yes,
and I'm telling you, I enjoyed it so much. I've seen it several times, and from start to finish. And of course, because it is Netflix, it just runs continuously from beginning to end. I think it was how many individual units was it? It was either 8, 10, I believe.
I think it's 10 episodes, but they're a little different than what you see on TV because they don't have commercials or anything. So you have episodes that are 10 minutes long, 12 minutes long, 9 minutes long, 16 minutes long, 18 minutes long, So each one is a little different because they don't have commercials or anything. But if you're a binge watcher, you can watch all 10 episodes in about 2.5 hours.
Okay. All right. Well, we certainly have done that, and we've done it more than one time here at the Grimes household. That's for sure. And there were some lessons that came out of that. So particularly for like young people who are interested in going to school, interested in wanting to have an HBCU musical experience, for those who want to showcase their talents, all of those things, plus the development of so many special skill sets. I mean, timeliness, maturity, overcoming defeat, and even when I remember some of the instances where they thought they were the best of the bunch, and then they found out that they weren't willing to put the work in. And what's the result of that in life, as a life story? You learn those lessons, which you can definitely, the audience can definitely pick those up, and it's great for young people to be able to see it, as well as parents. Every now and then, we all need a refresher. That I used to hear it said that if at first you don't succeed, I added my own little parallel to it. Keep trying until you do. And I just think that that's a great story. And it's just not the only national or international highlight that you guys have gone into. I remember the year at the Florida Classic, and anyone that doesn't know about the rivalry between Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, that game is actually one of the biggest, if not the biggest, HBCU game in the country. And over the years, there are some people that come, and we call it like it's really like a big family reunion. I guess in one year it was as many as 70,000 people showing up just the weekend before Thanksgiving. And I remember some of the highlights of the series. And of course, many people come for the football game because it's a great rivalry, long-standing. But many people also come for the band show, for the halftime show. They don't get up out of their seats, folks, until the bands have finished performing. And just like there were years when, for I think 9 straight years, Bethune dominated the football team on the field. I would say there was probably an equal number of years when the band also, Bethune's band dominated FAMU's band. And I remember one year in particular, which brings me to the point that you had a performance. I remember one year when FAMU's band was unable to perform, that you brought in Charlie Wilson, the singer, came in and dressed. It was so amazing because he was dressed in a Bethune-Cookman band uniform, and nobody knew that's who it was until he got there and literally ripped it off, and we realized that's Charlie Wilson. We know the voice. What was it like to perform with a Charlie Wilson?
I mean, that was probably one of the highlights of my career because I grew up as a fan of the Gap Band. The Gap Band came out when I was a senior in high school, so I was a fan of the Gap Band, and because FAMU band was on suspension, Florida Citrus Sports brought him in to help fill up halftime. And so then they asked me, said, well, would you mind doing something with Charlie Wilson that would lead into his show? And I said, well, we play a Gap Band song, Outstanding. And so that's what it ended up being. At the end of our show, we came off the field with Outstanding and, talking with his people and everything. Come to find out, he was in band in high school and he was a drum major. So he wanted to be a part of it. And they asked for a uniform, and we sent the uniform, and they said that they're going to have to cut it up so they can tear it off and make it a tearaway uniform. And I told them, I said, we can sacrifice one. You go ahead on and do what you need to do. And when I talk about the students and how amazing they are, you saw the show. We practiced that. We practiced that morning for 45 minutes. That's all we did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Everything else was done through the internet and phone calls. But the first time we played with Charlie Wilson was that morning and we practiced with him for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then we did it at the show, and people said, wow, man, y'all must put a lot of time in, because it was flawless. You know, it just flowed right into his show. But and that's the professional he is. And, you know, that's just the amazement of the students that we have. And it was awesome. It was awesome. And, you know, he was just so down to earth, and he loved our band. He loved our band, man. And he spent time talking to kids, taking all of their questions. And I mean, I'm not talking about standing behind a mic. Kids were just around him. He was sitting on the sideline bench, answering questions with the students, man, and giving them good advice. So he was very, very candid about his career, his accomplishments, his pitfalls, and how he was able to get himself back together, you know, and how his faith allowed him to recover. And so it was just great, man. It was just great.
You know, you hit on something there that is really, I mean, if we look those words up in the dictionary, they'd see Bethune-Cookman's band there. And you're talking about work ethic, you're talking about humility, you're talking about talent. And a lot of people got the talent, but they don't have the work ethic. A lot of people have been successful, but they don't have the humility. And you seem to be able to, I would say, ingrain that into your band members. And talk about that for a bit. What is the experience like? I mean, you said, yeah, they get out on the field, they perform, I'm on the sidelines. They're the ones carrying out the performance, but they're also carrying out the performance because they know you have high expectations of them. And I won't steal the quote from you from the Netflix movie, but there was one where you kind of gave them that fatherly advice of sort, that past master advice about, you know, if they didn't want to put the work in, then they needed to find a way out. So talk about that. What does that mean, and how does that all help pull your students from being, like you said, they come in as raw freshmen, but yet when they leave with degrees, they leave with opportunities that they may not otherwise have had?
Well, you know, one thing I'll say about our kids nowadays, just like I was when I was their age, you were their age, these kids have talent and ability, and that they don't even realize they have. My job is to pull it out, push them to the limit, and to show them what high achievement is. And once they get a taste of being the best, I don't have to push that student anymore. Because once you get a chance of winning or being the best, or people are talking about you as the top in the country, there's a pride that sets into their soul. And so I tell them, there's no shortcut to being the best. There's no shortcut to achievement. I said the only reason anybody achieves success or becomes a winner, they have put the work in. They've made the sacrifice. And if you're not willing to do the sacrifice or make the sacrifice, you don't deserve it. So I said, so if you're going to be a part of us, we're going to work hard. We're going to have discipline. We're going to be on time. We're going to be good students. And we're going to be respectful to people. And we're going to carry ourselves a certain way on campus and off campus that represents Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. I said, but you may not like the way we get there. You may not like the work and how hard I push you. But trust me, you're going to love the results. And just as soon as they get on the field and perform, and people start cheering, and they come back to class on Monday, and the student body says, oh, the band was this and all the band was that, then it starts to click. Now I see what Mr. Wells was talking about. You know, so
wow,
that's you know, and I tell parents, I said, you know, I tell my freshman parents when they drop their students off, I said, we're going to be fair to your kids. I said, if your child listens to us, they're going to flourish in this program and flourish at this university. And I said, now, we're not going to baby them. They won't have on diapers. They won't get baby powder. You know, I said, it's going to be tough. And everything is not going to go their way all the time. And sometimes they're going to hate Mr. Wells. And I said, that's good. That's no problem. I said, but my goal is to make sure that when they leave my program and they graduate from Bethune-Cookman, that they have the discipline to go out into this job market and be able to sustain themselves on the job, be a good father or a good mother, be a good husband or a good wife, be a good employee, you know, and hopefully just something will spark that from the program, and they will learn that, you know, what you get in life is what you have worked for. You know, people say, well, you know, I just got lucky. No, you worked yourself up to a point, and God gave you this opportunity because he saw you working so hard that he's worked hard enough. Let me reward this person with an opportunity and see if they take advantage of it. Now, I tell my kids, I just don't believe in luck. I believe in when you work hard, the good Lord will work out something for you. When you work hard and you're sincere, he'll work out something for you that's just for you, catered to the work that you've done, you know. So I tell my kids that all the time, man. So, you know, it's the program, I'll tell anybody, it's not an easy program to be in. I'm not an easy band director to be up under. You know, I know there are times where the kids despise the sight of me. But one thing I promise them is that no matter how you feel about me, there will never be a time where you step on the field or go to perform and you are not prepared and ready to perform at a high level.
All right.
And that's my job. That's my job.
You have the words and the vernacular and the demands of a coach. You know, in many ways, like we talk about football coaches, basketball coaches. But, I mean, really, when you think about it, you're also a teacher, you're a motivational speaker. Right. But you put in, I mean, the demands of preparation are just as much, in many ways, as a football team out there on the field. I mean, because these guys are practicing every day, sometimes more.
Yeah, sometimes more because, you know, when you have 250, 300 people, young people between the age of, I would say, 18 and 23, and you're trying to get everybody to move, to think, to execute, to play, and to do everything the same way at the same time, and have perfect timing. You know, it's the ultimate form of teamwork. And I tell my kids that. I said, I played sports in high school. But the band is the ultimate form of teamwork, you know. And music is unforgiving because in football, you know, a quarterback can miss a few passes and still win the game. A receiver can drop maybe a pass and still score a touchdown later. In basketball, you're not going to make every shot, but if you make most of them, you're a good player. Music is unforgiving. You cannot play one wrong note in music. Crowd knows it. Music has to be pretty much perfect for people to appreciate it. So, you know, it is at a high level. It takes a lot of preparation. And that's why I'm so enamored with what kids can do. You know, people label this generation as Generation X or the second X generation or whatever they want to call it. But by working with kids for almost 39 years now that I've been teaching, students are the same as they were 50, probably 100 years ago. You know, they were the same as I was at their age. The difference is that they have the internet now and the cell phone. You know, and see, when I was coming up, my parents said, well, y'all have TV now. We didn't have that coming up. So as time changed, but when you get down to the characteristics and the thought process and the feeling of a student, it's the same student that we had 50 years ago, just in a different age and different time. They feel they have good moments, bad moments. They get sad about the same thing. They get up about the same thing. They still look for attention. They still look for affirmation from directors, coaches, parents. So it's the same. It's the same student. It's just a different time.
You talk about your length of time in the music field, and you have some students who've gone on to graduate, and now they're band directors at high schools and at several colleges. What are some of the names that come to mind of schools that they may be at right now representing?
Well, I have in Virginia, I have Chris Mosley, who is a student of mine, a trumpet player. I recruited him, and now he's the music supervisor for the city of Richmond. Wow. I have Monica Fogg, who was a flute player. I recruited. She was a band director in DeKalb County in Georgia. And now she's the music supervisor in DeKalb County. I had a student of mine who, when I first got to Bethune-Cookman, he was a freshman saxophone player. And he has done, and he was a student from inner city Miami, good musician, hard worker, and talented out of the yin yang, man. And you could just see he had band director in him, and he would always ask all the right questions, hang around later when all the kids were gone, and his name is Greg Drain, and now he's the band director for the marching band at Penn State University. And,
Wow. Just a sample. And you know what?
He's from Orlando, Florida. And, the list goes on and on. I have a student who's a percussion instructor at Texas A&M. And, the list goes on. And they're the ones that are in music. We have students that have went on to be lawyers, medical doctors, airline pilots, the Secret Service detail for President Biden. I have a bassoon player from Miami, Chris Albury. His father graduated from Bethune-Cookman as well. He's on the detail with President Biden. He's with the Secret Service. He protects President Biden. So, from Mary McLeod Bethune, a poor lady from Maysville, South Carolina, come to Daytona Beach with 5 girls, start a little school, and look at the opportunity that her dream and her legacy are affording kids now. And, Bethune-Cookman is a special place, man. And I don't have to tell you. It's a special place. And it does special things with super limited resources. And that lets you know the spirit of the people there. Because whether you have it or not, the spirit of the people still makes it happen. It's a special place, man.
Yes, absolutely. You've got some events coming up. I know earlier we talked about, you mentioned about the Ballad of Bands coming up in Atlanta. What's the date for that?
That is, I think it's February 3rd. I think it's the first Friday in February, first Saturday in February. 3rd or the 4th. Okay. I don't have a calendar in front of me. That's for Atlanta. And this coming Monday, Martin Luther King birthday, we will be in Tampa for the MLK parade. We will be doing the MLK parade in Tampa, Florida, this coming Monday.
Okay. I mean, you also have, I believe, an event. I think you were telling me about that's coming on. That you're one of the bands that's participating in the upcoming television special that's coming up. Talk about that for a moment.
Okay. The event that we have in Atlanta in February, they partnered with Aspire TV. Aspire TV is an African-American network out of Atlanta, and they are nationwide. And Aspire TV, in preparation for the HBCU All-Star Battle of the Bands, all of the schools that are participating, they came to visit those schools and observe their bands in their natural element. And they came to Bethune-Cookman, and they followed us from Thursday through Saturday of the weekend of homecoming. And they went to practice, and just like with Netflix, you know, I told the kids we haven't practiced. You know, you see cameras around, we still haven't practiced. You know, and one thing about our kids, we've been fortunate enough to do so many things on a national level that the cameras doesn't really faze them. And so we went on and had practice, and, you know, practice can be fun, practice can be tough, you know, practice can be a little scary sometimes. And so, but we allowed them in and let them film whatever they needed to film. And so what they're doing a 3-part series leading up to the event in February. And it's every Saturday. So this coming Saturday on Aspire TV, I believe it's at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, they'll be doing the documentary of each band. So this Saturday features Bethune-Cookman and North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
I believe next Saturday has Tennessee State and South Carolina State. And the last Saturday has Norfolk State, someone else, I can't remember. But, and it's an hour long. You know, they will feature highlights from both bands, you know, let you see in the elements, how you warm up, students coming into practice, how students act at the end of practice when they're tired. They followed a couple of students to class on Friday, you know. So it's pretty interesting in the way they put it together, and I think people will enjoy it. And that's on Aspire TV, and that'll be this Saturday.
I think that that particular station is a cable station, and it's also, but I think Magic Johnson is one of the founders of Aspire TV. So it's a very positive network, and so those of you out there, make sure you check it out. You'll get a taste of what Bethune-Cookman's band is all about and the life that our students lead as they become successful, not only musicians, but successful students, ultimately successful professionals in their respective fields. That's a great thing.
You know, Judge Grimes, one thing that I like what they did, too, is that they've really tried, and they succeeded in capturing the culture of a HBCU campus. You know, and you know, the culture of a HBCU game. You know, they captured all of that, and that's not easy to do. But by them being an African American network, a lot of their producers, a lot of their directors and producers are graduates of HBCU. You know, so they knew exactly how to capture the culture of the band and the culture of the HBCU campus and schools. You know, so it was I think it's going to be great, man.
You know, that's another layer of for our aspiring college students, those who are 15, 16, 17 years old, to be able to say, oh, look, I can see myself, you know, through the eyes of these other students who themselves look just like them. Many of them have had similar challenges. And so it's a great, for each one of those schools, when they get a chance to put the bands on display, it's a great recruiting tool as well for our universities. So whether you're talking about VCU or A&T or any of the other schools that are featured there, this is a great opportunity to recruit students for the future. That's a powerful tool.
A powerful tool, man. And I'm a HBCU fan. You know, so I love Bethune-Cookman, but I love any HBCU because I think all HBCUs serve a purpose, and they serve a special niche of students that may be left behind if it wasn't for that particular school. So
Yes.
I'm a fan of all HBCUs, all of them.
As am I. As am I.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell.
And I can tell you that had it, I'm a graduate of Kentucky State, there in Frankfort, Kentucky, and I can tell you that the preparation, the inspiration, the motivation, the work ethic, all of those things that prepared me for law school, it came about, and my success in law school and those post exams you have to take afterwards, that preparation for that is founded in the work that I got exposed to at Kentucky State. Those professors who showed they cared, but they, so many times it's not like people say, well, how do they show that they care? Well, it's because they didn't accept junk. That's one thing. They held us accountable. They pushed us to demand excellence. And as it often was said to us, that you had to be a superstar just to be considered average. So why not start now? And so it was there that it formulated the ideas. And I even think back to, you were talking about the founder of Bethune, Dr. Bethune. And for those that may not be aware, Dr. Bethune was selected by the legislature and governor of Florida to represent the state of Florida in Statuary Hall. And so that statute was unveiled in July of this past year. And she's the only black woman representing a state amongst the statues there in Statuary Hall. And just to think about that for a moment, I often think about what was it? She has inspired so many others. And I think the last numbers I saw, there was something like 35,000 graduates of Bethune-Cookman, all because of a woman who had a dream. And like you said, started with 5 little girls, 1 little boy, $1.50, faith in God. And yet she impacted the lives. And I can tell you that the 2 leading schools that have impacted the economy and have helped to build the black middle class in the state of Florida in particular have been Bethune-Cookman, and of course our big rival, sports rival no less, but partner in HBCU education, Florida A&M. And that also means that the other 2 schools that Edward Waters, which is now Edward Waters University in Jacksonville, and Florida Memorial down in Miami, those 4 schools make up and really collectively have helped to build the black middle class here in Florida and even beyond. And you played a great role through the work you've done on the music side. But like you said earlier, there are many of your students that, they went on to not just do music, but in a wide variety of fields that they have continued to prosper.
Oh, yeah.
So that's phenomenal.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
The pride of Bethune-Cookman. Again, I say to our listeners out there, if you've not had a chance to check it out, check out the Aspire TV piece coming up this weekend. Check out Netflix. And, of course, you've mentioned just a few of the many places that the band has been featured. I mean, you played at NFL games. You played at other schools. I recall when way back in 2018, when we were invited to play at the University of Nebraska. It ended up becoming a makeup game for because of a weather issue that they had earlier. And we got invited out. And I can't tell you how many people asked me the question, well, where's the band? We want to see the band. And like I said earlier, at the Classic, many people come for the football team and the competition, but just as many also come to see the band. They know that they're going to get a great show. And I've seen some of the many, how do you come up with, every year you come up with so many unique designs, and you come up with formations that really just capture the hearts of the people in the stands. And it's always done with such precision. It's just amazing to me. How do you set up for a performance like that? Well,
we have a outstanding staff got James Fortier, the best arranger in the country, Pedro Ori, best percussion instructor in the country. And just recently, I've added on 3 of my former students to the staff. Mr. Roberts, Nakej Roberts, he does the dances and flags. Mr. Breshawn Watson, he does drum majors and he helps out with flags, and he helps with our dance committee. And then we have Tiffany Todd. She does all of our video, social media work. And then we have Ken Moore. You know Ken Moore. Ken Moore is the voice of the Marching Wildcats. So it's a great team there. And our job is to make sure that with all of the discipline and everything that we want out of our to express what they would like to see in shows and to hear their ideas. Sometimes they have awful ideas. I mean, just horrible. And then sometimes they have ideas that knock my socks off. You know, and so I have to always have a listening ear, because some of the best ideas do not come from me or the staff. They come from the students. They really come from the students. So, you know, that's why I said they're so creative and everything.
I tell you, they are definitely, we can't encourage our listening audience anymore you got to check them out, folks. Check them out and see what it's all about. And here again, it reminded me of the competition between bands, because, like I said, they come for the band shows oftentimes just like they come for the football game. And I think so much about again, at the what used to be called the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, but it's now Camping World Stadium. And I think about the thousands of people that come. And you got folks who cheer for FAMU's band, just like they cheer for FAMU's football team. You've got people that come for Bethune-Cookman's band, just like Bethune-Cookman's football team. And it's so amazing. I remember one year that the Orlando Sentinel did a story after the game was over with, because they saw the students after the game. So I believe Bethune, that was during that 9-year winning streak run. And students FAMU students in the band dressed in their green outfit, Bethune-Cookman students in the band dressed in their maroon and gold. And they were, of course, marching. They were not marching, but they were walking together at the end of the game, hand in hand, laughing, joking, talking to one another. And the news reporter was having a hard time understanding that. He said he had never seen that type of camaraderie after a game, for example, between FSU, Florida State, and University of Florida, or FSU and University of Miami. He said that doesn't happen because these are two arch rivals. So, but yet, because this again goes back to the idea of the culture of HBCUs, that we all recognize that after the game is over with, you know, we are competitors on the field, but after it's over with, we're family. We're family. And how often do you get a chance to see that? Yes.
Oh, you know, it's amazing, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, sometimes students, they'll look at the game and see our players, the band members at the Florida Classic, and the rivalry and the competition is so intense. But I wish they could see at the end of the game, when the game is over, and how many students come over from both bands. They're taking pictures with each other. Because, see, what people have to understand is that I've had a sister in my band, and her brother was in the Marching 100. I've had twins where one girl from Jacksonville, she's a twin. She was at Bethune-Cookman. Her sister was at FAMU. You know, you have relatives and neighbors, people you went to high school with. Your best friend in high school might be marching with the 100, and you're marching with us. You still best friends. And even students that I've tried to recruit and they decide to go to FAMU, after the game, they're coming to me, Mr. Wells, you remember me? I said, I can't remember your name. I said, but you went to Miller Grove High School and you played saxophone. Said, oh, you remember me? I said, yeah, I remember audition. Yeah. I said, how you like it at FAM? He said, it's going pretty well. I said, I'm proud of you, man. And he said, Mr. Wells, can I have a picture? Then next thing you know, I'm taking a picture with 10, 15, 20 members of FAMU band. And I tell my kids, that's what it's about. I said, because all of us are human beings before we are band members, you know. All of us are human beings. And you know, 2 black schools, 2 HBCUs, we should be able to have competition and never lose our relationship. And so, it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a beautiful thing. The band director's there, Dr. Julian White, who's retired now. Dr. White, people didn't know. Dr. White and I are still good friends. We talk periodically on the phone. If I'm in Tallahassee, he tells me to come by. His wife fixed dinner for us and stuff and everything, man. And I had him at Bethune-Cookman as guest conductor one year. People were like, "You're gonna have the FAMU band?" I said, "Yeah, that's my colleague, that's my friend." And so, and we have to set the example for our kids that we can compete, and you should at the highest level that you possibly can. But competition doesn't make you an enemy. Competition should not make you an enemy, you know. And so,
so good.
Yeah, you know. So we're just trying to, you know, teach our kids the right thing, and but like you said, and that's just the culture of an HBCU, man. You know, I can go. I can go. I've been out recruiting, and I can go to Texas. I go out to Texas recruiting, and I walk in the band room. The band will say, "Hey, man, I'm a big fan of yours. I've been following your band." And I said, "Well, nice to meet you." I said, "Where did you go to school at?" "Well, I went to Prairie View." Oh, man, there's a connection right there, you know. Or I went to Texas Southern. There's a connection right there, you know. Or I went to Lane or you know, just anywhere that's an HBCU, man. So there's always a connection because there's not many of us compared to other universities and institutions. So you know, I'm glad we have that camaraderie and we stick together and support each other. And I think it's a great example for our kids as well, especially in the climate that we live in now. I think it's a great example.
And, you know, that's even, and in spite of the climate sometimes being radical, and unfortunately so radical that it causes people to be divided as opposed to working together. Right. You know, the fact is that we've seen an uptick in the number of students who are returning to HBCUs. There's been, I noticed some stats just a few days ago that said overall the HBCUs have increased in their admissions and in the student population, while there's been a downturn at a lot of the PWIs or predominantly white institutions. And, you know, it's just an example that people are coming home to understand that this is something that they want, all of what you have described here tonight. Yeah. And that's great.
And I you know, social media, I'm not a big social media person. And social media gets a bad rap, and sometimes well-deserved. But I have to say, social media, one thing that it has done for HBCUs, it has allowed, especially students who are on social media all the time, to interact with students at HBCUs, learn more about HBCUs at an earlier age, you know, than we did when we were coming up. So, you know, now, because of the internet, students 10 years old can find out about any HBCU they want to. They can find out about Bethune-Cookman. They can find out about Tuskegee. They can find out about Hampton or Howard, you know, anyone they want to, you know, and see campus life and how campus looks, how many majors they have. And, you know, so social media has helped a lot in that regard.
Yes. You know, when you talk about that, and I use this in some of my final comments, I'm leaving my grandson, who is now 12, is a Wildcat. He's a Bethune-Cookman Wildcat already in his heart, even though his mother went to Florida A&M, and they live in the city of Greensboro, North Carolina, where North Carolina A&T, and he goes there for their summer programs. But in his heart, he's a Bethune-Cookman Wildcat, and he doesn't have a problem telling people that. So, you're right. The influence is there.
Yeah, the influence is there, man. But see, your family has such a long lineage with Bethune-Cookman. It's in his DNA. He can't help it, man.
It's in his DNA.
It's in his DNA. He can't help it.
Yeah. Well, I think the hour's come, and we're going to be wrapping up here. So, any final comments that you'd like to leave with our listeners tonight?
Look, the only thing I would like to say is that as a graduate of Bethune-Cookman, I love my college, and I'm indebted to my college for allowing me to come back and serve. And I'm indebted to the students that I've had an opportunity to work with. I'm indebted to you, because when you were as interim president, bestowed upon me the highest honor I could ever have in my life, and that was the honorary doctorate. God has been good to me and has put some great people in my life, and has sent me some great places. And I would like your listeners to know that some of the things that our band has done, and I'm going to just name a few off the top of my head. We've had a Netflix series that was worldwide. We've had a series called The Battle on ESPN. We performed pregame at the Super Bowl just before Jennifer Hudson sung the national anthem. We've done the halftime for the Pro Bowl for the NFL, the entire halftime. We've done we went to LA and recorded a Cadillac commercial. We were in the movie Drumline. We did the Every Vote Count campaign with Kerry Washington and Alicia Keys. We did a performance in Houston with Grammy Award-winning artist Leandria Johnson from Sunday's Best. These are just some of the things. And
you guys, and your drumline was on the Ellen DeGeneres show. I recall seeing that.
Ellen DeGeneres show. We opened up for Monday Night Football on ESPN and ABC. Just these are the things. I'm a country boy from Smithfield, Virginia. When I was growing up in Smithfield, we had one red light. To kind of let you know how big Smithfield is. And to come from Smithfield and to have this kind of opportunity. And I remember there's a moment I'll never forget. At the Super Bowl, the producers wanted me to come in. Field had a tarp on it. Wanted me to come in, and they wanted to show me the way that they wanted us to enter and when they wanted us to line up. And when we finished, when they give us the cue, how they wanted us to exit. And they wanted to give me a walkthrough, so I'll determine how I would set up the band. And man, I walked in the stadium, and I said, man, from Smithfield, Virginia, because of Bethune-Cookman University, I'm getting ready to perform at the Super Bowl. And I said, man, so I don't take anything for granted. I am so appreciative of Bethune-Cookman, Dr. Bethune, her legacy, students that we've had in the program, man. And it has afforded me some opportunities that I would have never had. The band has performed in Los Angeles, California 5 times.
Wow.
And, so I probably would have never even had an opportunity to go to LA if it wasn't for the band. So it's just the labor of love, and I couldn't think of any other job that I would enjoy more than what I have right now. And so I'm just appreciative of everybody, school, and especially the students and my staff that I work with every day, and the students that I work with. It has been a great journey, and I tell our kids all the time, the destination is fine, but enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey.
Amen.
And I have truly enjoyed the journey. So thank you for having me.
All right.
This has been great. I appreciate you.
All right. Well, we're so grateful and so proud of the work that you not only have done, but that you continue to do, and how you affect the lives of so many students. At one point, we were called the largest band in the land. We were the best band amongst the HBCUs, and you continue to carry that mantle with you everywhere you go, as obviously example, not only in terms of the music on the field, but the impact you have on the lives of these young people. So thank you for all that you do. Congratulations again. And I'll be tuning in to Aspire, looking forward to seeing that show, as well as looking forward to getting a chance to be a part of the Battle of the Bands coming up. So
all right.
Be blessed, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Again.
Thank you so much, man.
All right.
Y'all
folks,
take care now.
Thank you now. Well, folks, there you have it. This is an interview with Dr. Donovan Wells, the Director of Bands for Bethune-Cookman University, and, of course, Marching Pride. Thanks again, folks. We're going to go ahead and call it a day. We know that you always hear me say, never go to bed as ignorant as you were when you woke up this morning. Every day, you ought to learn something new. I hope that we've been able to share something that you've learned from tonight. God bless you all, and good night.